Like, what led you to the Army?
So at that point, it was kind of a real like hit to my ego because I had to move back home with my parents
Wow.
because back in the suburbs of Chicago, I just couldn't, I was still freelance training, but not making the money I was doing. I
Yeah.
couldn't support myself. So I'd moved back with my parents. At that time, my little brother, right out of high school, he's 4 years younger than I, right out of high school, joined the Air Force. He was the
Mm.
first one. No one else in our family was really military. He'd made the choice that that's what he was doing. So he was ready in the Air Force, doing his thing, loving life. And I'm the older brother and I'm living at home with mommy and daddy still with no direction, no career, no degree, no nothing, but I can train people. And that was,
Yeah.
and I loved being a personal trainer, but like it's a tough job sometimes. And that,
It's
like
very
it's,
tough. Very tough.
especially when the economy goes bad, sometimes you're the first thing people cut is they cut, and it's a luxury item for most people.
You put it best. It's a luxury, not a necessity, man. And it probably always be that way.
Yeah.
You know?
So that was like, what am I going to do with my life?
Yeah.
And I pondered that for a year because once again, my identity was taken from me. I'm just, what am I going to do? And then at this point, I'm 20, almost 28 years old. I'm not a young kid anymore. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, what's my life? So I was like, okay, I talked to my brother. I've contemplated for about 6 months. And one day I walk into the recruiter station, like the good old, all the branches are there. I walk in, I realized, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to join the Air Force. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an Air Force medic. So I was like, you know what should I do? I'll be in the medical field. Maybe I want to go to PA school eventually, but medical, right? Personal trainer, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I walk into the Air Force recruiter station and they sit down. They're super nice. They have the latte for you in the Air Force. No. And they tell me, hey, it's awesome you want to join, but no, we can't take you. I'm like, what'd I do wrong? They're like, you're too old. At the time,
Oh,
I was too
wow.
old to enlist.
No, I didn't think of
So it
that.
was it was a blow. I'm like, whoa, I'm too old to enlist in the Air Force. So I walk
Wow.
out and it's one of those recruiter stations when you walk out, there's all the other doors
Oh,
there.
they're
And I'm just
waiting
like,
for you. Yeah, they're
what am I
waiting
gonna
for you.
do? So then I look over at the Navy and I'm like, hey, no offense, I'm not a big water guy, not a
I,
fan of water.
I get it,
And
man. You're not offending me, dude.
here's the thing, I knew I couldn't guarantee to be a corpsman. And
Yeah.
the Navy doesn't guarantee you that. So I was like, okay, well, I want to be medical. The Navy's not going to guarantee me that. And I'm not a big water guy, so I don't want to do that. The Marines don't have medical because they rely
Hmm.
on the Navy. And
Maybe,
I just
yeah.
didn't, I love my Marines, but it wasn't the path I wanted at 28 years old to be a Marine.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, I guess it's the Army. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I told the recruiter that when I walked in. I'm like, well, I want to be a 68 whiskey. I knew I did my research that I could, as long as I passed the ASVAB, I can join as a medic. And he was trying to sell me on the other jobs. And I was older. I'm like, look, bro, I'll be a medic. And if it comes up, give me a call. He's like, no, we can make it happen. And 3 weeks later, I was at Fort Benning, Georgia, training.
Wow, that
Basically,
was
yeah,
fast.
it was
Yeah, that
fast.
was
It was fast.
fast.
It was very
So
fast.
so you had this vision or this idea you want to be a medic. When you walked in the office, I mean, you had to have seen some kind of pamphlets on like SF or the Ranger Battalion. Did any of that stuff cross your mind at that point, or was it you just so hyper focused on being a medic?
It did. I loved special forces. Actually, I remember my senior year of high school, you had to, in English, you had to do like a final big report kind of thing. It was like
Hmm.
a great graduation requirement. I did mine on Navy SEALs. So I
Oh,
remember like
nice.
looking into
Yeah,
special
nice.
operations and learning about special operations and always having a love for like the military movies and the special op guys. So I always had a fascination with that. And it was in the back of my head that I knew that I could possibly go that route, but really I was really, I'm 28 now. I'm not 22
Yeah,
years old
yeah,
anymore. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, PA school, I'm thinking I can go be a PA and do all that kind of stuff and do a medical. And that was like my new identity. I was a combat medic. And for the first time, it was just having an identity that once again, I was focused on, but I was super proud of it. I will say that
Hmm.
I was the most proud 29-year-old private first class you're ever going to meet at 29 years old. Didn't matter. I didn't care. I didn't care if the sergeants were older than me. I didn't care my drill sergeants. I didn't care. I was proud. I was a combat medic. I accomplished it.
Yeah.
And I still remember this day, just showing my first unit, just don't care. Oh, you're the old guy. Don't care. You know what? I'm happy to be here.
Is that going through basic at 28 with all those knuckleheads right out of high school? That had to be hard, man.
Yes and no. Here's where it was not. I knew this going in. I spoke to the people that were already in them because I had a lot of friends that joined. So when I was a high school, 9/11 happened when I was a senior. So I had a lot of
Hmm.
friends that joined right away, boom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of intel and like, hey, they gave me a lot of advice. Like, look, it doesn't matter what you do at basic training, you're going to fail. Just accept the fact they're going to yell at you. You're never going to accomplish a task correctly. It's a game. So when I going in knowing that, and also knowing that I wasn't missing my parents, like an 18, first time away from home. I
Yeah.
didn't have someone waiting for me at home either. It was just like, it's just me there. And I'm like, okay, I already know I'm going to get there and I'm going to fill every task and I'm going to get smoked every day. So knowing that, it made it a way easier to just accept the fact that this is just a process. It was, and I knew about the drill sergeants. I knew it was business. It wasn't personal. I used to tell my trainees that all the time. This isn't personal. It's business. And for me, basic really, it wasn't that bad. And same with AIT for us, for individual training for
Hmm.
the medic. I was there to complete my job, to become a medic.
Where was AIT at? Was it at Benning also?
Fort Sam, Houston. So all combat
Oh, okay.
medics actually all medical. So if you're Air Force, Navy, all of it is right here. I'm still in San Antonio right now. It's right here at Fort Sam, Houston.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very cool, man. So, you get through all that training. Now you're in the army, and I wanted to cover this because I think this would be, I could be mistaken, but I think you're the first guest I've had on the show where I can kind of relate to going into a pipeline that has a high attrition rate and then carrying those ghosts for, for a period of time. So can you kind of walk us into maybe that next door of your army career? You know
Yeah.
where I'm going.
And
You know where I'm going with this,
I
but
know where you're going with this one. And once again, it comes back to, and this is to be the whole trend of the podcast is going to be identity. And
mhm.
well, my new identity was, you know what? I want to go to PA school. I was doing college at the same time. So
Okay.
I'm part-time, I was doing college. I'm going to get my PA. But in the meantime, I'm like, you know what? I think I want to be an 18 Delta, a special operations medic.
Yeah.
And I started really getting serious about it. So at the base I was at the time, Fort Hood, I was going to special operations PT in the morning. I did this for a year and a half, training up with the special, because you have like a SF recruiter that's stationed there, and his job is to do PT with you before you go to selection. And I did for a year and a half, and I just worked with
Wow.
him,
Yeah.
train my butt off. Read you name a book out there, get selected. Any book, I read it. I was just so engulfed and so hyper focused on that. And then I had this amazing opportunity come my way. And they did it for a short period where there's the 18 X-rays. They're the ones that can come into the Army and go right to to try out force to be a Green Beret.
Yeah.
Well, they have at the time they had a program called SOPSI. They call it something else now, I'm sure. And it's like a pre-selection they go through while they're at Fort Bragg. Well, what they realized is all these 18 X-rays had a high pass rate in selection. All the active duty guys had a lower pass rate in getting selected. However, in the Q course, they noticed 18 X-rays would have a higher fail rate, but the active duty guys would pass higher if they made it on because they knew the Army already. They
Yeah. Yeah.
understood
Yeah.
Army.
That
So they're
makes
like, okay,
sense.
how do we bridge that gap? So their test was, let's take a bunch of, I think it was a couple hundred total soldiers. We got to go to SOPSI. We got to go to Camp McCall early and be with 18 X-rays. And so I spent 54 days on Camp McCall. When most people spend 21, maybe 24 days, or depending. I spent over 50 doing SOPSI, training with, these Green Beret instructors, learning everything about selection. We learned so before we get to classes, we were there, weeks earlier doing everything and working out, and they feed you. By the way, they feed you like a king at SOPSI. We get the defect for the special ops guys. You're on the weekends, you can't work out, you get to stretch, they give you a foam roller, like there's recovery. It's all about making you ready for selection.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then day one rolls in and then all hell breaks loose. But I had this mindset where I didn't have my phone. I had one book with me. That's all you're allowed, one book. And you train. You train, you work out, you train, you learn land nav, you learn all the things that it's going to make you successful to get through selection. So for 3 weeks of just being hyper focused, nothing else, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to do this. I
Yeah.
had this belief that I was going to be a Green Beret. And I was like, because I was killing it. I was the physical stuff, the runs, the rucks. There wasn't a problem. I was healthy. I was feeling good. And boom, selection comes. And I'm just pumped. I'm like, I got this. And every day I'm waking up, I'm like, I hate to say, I used to thrive on watching people quit. That fueled me. Every time
Yeah.
someone quit, you wake up in the morning, because they didn't have the guts to quit during the day, so they quit during the night. I'm sure it happened the same
Yeah.
for budge training. Quit during
Yeah.
the night. You wake up like, I'm still here. I'm still here. And then right before we went into doing the land nav portion at selection, you have a roster number, right? And
Hmm.
that morning, I hear my roster number called out, and me and like 20 other guys was there. And then and it's weird because you're in this platoon now. They take you in this formation. You're with captains. I was with ranger guys, already had tabs. you're just with, it's just a mix. You don't know what's
Hmm.
going on. You're like, these are guys, there's guys that are just studs around me too. And there's like
Yeah.
20 of us. And then they take us in the room one by one. Go in there, there's a sergeant major in there, and he just says, "Hey, I really appreciate you coming out and your hard work, but at this time, you're not what we're looking for. If you want to come back in 6 months, you can come back." And he's like, "Do you have any questions?" I'm like, "Well, why?" He's like, "It's classified. I can't tell you." But he also would say this. He's like, "The Army will never know why either.
Huh.
The only people that know." And I've had colonels that were in special operations try to find out for me because this was a blow, and no one can find out. No one's allowed to ever know why you didn't get selected. I think it's because that protects the program. But to this day,
Mm.
I have speculations now on why I didn't, but I still can't tell you this is why I didn't get selected. I don't
Is
know.
it? Do you think? I know I'm gonna tread lightly here. Um, the blue side of the house is a lot like a fraternity, and you could be a superstar stud, and if you're not well liked, you don't get along with people. They can find a reason to get rid of you. Is the SF pipeline kind of similar?
There are peer reviews during SF, and you can get
Okay.
peered out. And that's actually what a lot of the active duty guys went through SOPSI didn't realize. When I went through, I was a staff sergeant, E6. A lot
Okay.
of staff sergeants were there. And, you get these 11 X-rays, they're privates. And these staff sergeants thought they were going to tell this private what to do. Like, dude, we're the same right now. Like,
Yeah.
your rank
Yeah.
is irrelevant. They didn't understand that. So they made enemies.
Mm,
These little, like, 18 X-ray kids, they came in together. They've been hanging out for months. They're buddies.
yeah.
So if you didn't get good with them, that could be a problem. You had to be a team player. So I
Yeah.
realized that, and I don't think my problem was that. Um, I don't really know, to be honest. I can
Mm,
speculate, but here's the thing. I used to make excuses and speculate, and because this crushed me to the point where, like, I was depressed.
yeah.
I was extremely depressed when I had to go to Tent City, because Tent City is where you go if you either quit and or are told you're not, you have to be there for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So I had to sit in Tent City because you don't get to go right away. Like, even though they told me I was stuck in Camp McCall for 3 extra days, just sitting in this little area they call Tent City, and you're with all the
Yeah.
quitters too.
Yeah. That
And no one
sucks.
knows, who no the cadre over you there. You're all quitters. So
Yeah.
now you're categorized as a quitter,
Yeah.
and it was a blow. It was a blow, and to top it off, you know, I get back, and I'm married at the time, and that wasn't going well, and that crumbled as soon as I got back. And at that point, I lost my identity of who I was in the military anymore. Because, yeah, I was still, I was a platoon sergeant still. I was still a combat medic. I'm proud of that. But my identity became, once again, I'm going to be a special, I'm going to be a Green Beret. I'm going to earn that. And that became everything. And that took me a very long time in my military career to get over and to
Yeah.
understand how to get over it. But in the meantime, I can tell you, it got dark, and I became an extreme
Bef- Before you get into that, I have a quick question, Adam. So, did you ever consider going back and trying to get through again?
I did for a little bit, but I can tell you, I trained so hard and I was so deflated afterwards. I don't think I could have kept training at that level anymore. I just didn't want to. I stopped.
Yeah.
I still would work out, I'd still do normal, high, be fit, but I wasn't training at that elite level anymore. And the drinking didn't help. And
Yeah.
I think if I had a mentor at the time, or I had better guidance, or my a better spiritual mindset, maybe I could have gotten back there. But I went the opposite direction. I self-pitied. I felt sorry for myself. I blamed everyone else. I made excuses on why I didn't get selected. And every night, I just turned to alcohol every night. There wasn't a day. That's going to be a guarantee every single night. It's just
Yeah.
drown our sorrows.
Where was God in all this, man? Were you even like in a point in your life where you were talking to him, or were you still kind of just focused on drowning and I don't mean literally, but like just numbing, I should say numbing, not drowning, but numbing everything.
No, I'll say this, there was no spirituality. It was me against the world at that point, and
Yeah.
my whole life, so my personal life was just going down the drain. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my rest of my career. My marriage was done, and I'm still a platoon sergeant at this point.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing holding me afloat, was somehow I was able to show up every morning and just be the stellar platoon sergeant, put the show on. And it got to the point where I could drink a half bottle every night and wake up the next morning, still run before PT, get the PT, PT with my guys, and I'm fine, and I'm not
Yeah.
showing, I'm not smelling like it. And I started wearing that as a badge. And I think that was my only way of getting over it or coping was like, it was almost a game. Like you know what? I can do this still. I can still play the Army game and be the stellar NCO on paper and be the platoon sergeant and be a hypocrite while I'm yelling at my guys that are just, they're hungover because one, I'm like looking down on them because they can't handle it. That's at the time, that's how it was. Like, oh, I can handle it. Why can't you? Like, this is, come on, man. Just man up. If you're going to
Yep.
party.
Yep.
And it just got bad to the point where I was just alone and I had no one to turn to, but all I had was the Army. I had my, at the time I had my platoon and being a platoon sergeant, but guess what? Once again, all things in the military come to an end and something else has to change. And my time as a platoon sergeant, I had to PCS from Fort Hood at the time. It's where I was. And so that ended. And then once again, I was kind of at a loss.
Yeah. So when you exited SF, the pipeline, did you go back to your old unit, or how does that process work?
You do. You go back to your old
Ooh,
unit. And
okay.
like I went back to being a platoon sergeant and I was right back in that position. And it was hard because one of my privates, and I'm very proud of him, by the way. One of my privates at the time, he went a class after me.
Okay.
And he not only got selected, he is now an 18 Delta in the operating force. Like first time goes and everything, first time dive go. Like this guy is and I'm so proud. I got to meet him afterwards. He got to come talk to my privates when I was a drill sergeant, actually. So it was super like proud. But I remember like when he made it, I didn't. And I'm just like, that was another blow. It was
Yeah.
tough. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're just back in the fighting force,
Okay.
back in your unit, and hey, you didn't make it.
So how do you transition into a drill sergeant? Where does that happen? Like when does that come about?